Hey guys, and welcome back to the Desert Games video series on each of the WODs. Today we're talking about WOD number 2. WOD number 2, a lot going on, multiple different bars, so make sure you pay attention, make sure you know what to do when you get to the event itself. So, first of all, there'll be 8 lanes in this event, and there'll be 2 stations at each lane, totaling 16 stations. Lanes 1 through 8 will be racked, so that will be your strict press and your overhead squat movements. And then lane number 9 through 16 will be your Ollie movements, the snatch and the clean. So the way it'll work is you'll have 30 seconds as a single person to do your designated lift, and then you'll have a 10-second transition period to the next station. 4 stations will go at a time, so that means stations 1 through 4 will start. Say for instance that's the strict press first. Stations 1 through 4 will start. And then after 40 seconds are over, then stations 5 through 8 will start at minute 120. Stations 9 through 12 will start at 2 minutes, and stations 13 through 16 will start at 2:40. And it will continue like that until every person has had 3 attempts. Okay? Only 2 people allowed per station, so your 2 teammates cannot come over and help you load weight. It's just the 2 people that you're with can help you load weight. So 2 persons per station has to stay together. Now, the weight can be loaded previously, and we expect you to change the weight before your station is called to lift. So you can change the weight, load the weight, take off the weight, change bars, whatever you need to do before you have that done. Now that means you'll have about 2 minutes and 40 seconds of rest time before each lift. So the way it works is also you cannot go down on the weight. So if you choose a weight, you must stay at that weight or go up on your next attempt. So you can't start off heavy, then go light. The bar has to be getting higher, not lower, or staying the same. The men, it'll be a men's bar at the rack stations only. So women, if you're doing strict press or overhead squat, you will be using a men's bar. If you are doing the Ollie side of things, the cleaner, the snatch, you will have a women's bar there. Now, you're gonna have to scoot all the weight off if possible. Make sure it's on the women's bar before you use it, but that's up to you. You may use a male bar. Males cannot use a women's bar. Males can only use the men's bar for the Ollie lifts. Okay, so next thing is let's go ahead and go over the standards for each lift. Okay guys, let's talk about the strict press, the standards for movement on the strict press. Pretty simple. So we'll make sure that we go over everything that we're looking for. But we expect you to know, again, everything before you come to competition, and so you don't ask any questions. So we're going to start off taking it from the rack. Remember, you're using a men's bar for both the men and the women. Once you take it from the rack, it has to start at your shoulder. So John takes it off the rack. He has 30 seconds to make the 3 strict presses. He's going to start from shoulder width. If your mobility is not such that you can put it at your shoulder, you're going to have to make sure you talk with the judge and let them know that that is not the position. We'll come up and make the call based on each individual athlete. If the mobility is not there, to touch the shoulder. Every rep must touch the shoulder. So as John presses up, he comes back down, must touch the shoulder before he starts the next one. It does not have to come to complete stop. Yes, you can hit the shoulder and come right back up and use somewhat of a bounce out of it. Okay, as long as the bar goes down further enough to make the rep count. You cannot use your knees to start the lift. That is a push press, that is a no rep. You cannot move your feet either in the middle or anywhere near or at the end of your strict press. If you're walking, that is a no rep. Feet must stay still, and this is for the ease of judging and making sure everything's even across the board, okay? That means you cannot come up on your toes either. So as you're pressing out and you got those few inches left, use your toes to push up. That is a no rep, all right? So feet have to stay together on the ground and not lifted during any part of the movement. That is the strict press. For the overhead squat, it's similar rules. So we're taking from the rack position, bar is preloaded. John takes it out of the rack. He can jerk it up there any way he wants, push jerk or split jerk, or he can push press it or strict press it, whatever he likes. He can also snatch balance. So you can snatch balance your first rep of the overhead squat as long as the squat meets the needed standards of hip crease below knee, okay? And that goes for all the other squats on the overhead squat, making sure that the hip crease goes below the knee and the hips clear. That's an important part of the overhead squat. Cannot stay in this position as you come up. That is a no rep. Hips have to be in line with the shoulders for this to count. Those are your overhead squats. If the bar touches the ground or touches any part of your body and your shoulders or your back, you have to start the reps over. If you walk out of one, that is a no rep. Well, you can actually walk out of the overhead squats. Let's clarify that. You can walk out of the overhead squats and say you're coming up and you walk out of it. As long as your hips clear, you can start the next rep, okay? The only thing we won't count, or you have to start over if the bar touches the ground, or you rack your back on your back or your front rack. And then you'll have to start the 3 reps over within the 30 seconds. That's it on the overhead squat. All right, competitors, we'll be talking about the only portion of WOD number 2, including the clean and the snatch. They're both hang positions, so as long as the bar is above knee in the start position, you can clean or snatch. The first thing that must happen is the hips have to clear from the beginning. So you cannot start the clean from the ground. That position right there does not count. Okay, so as long as you are extended, almost like a deadlift, then come back down to your hang position and start the rep at that point. That will be considered a good rep. These cleans are both power cleans or squat cleans will both count as long as they're 2 in a row and as long as the bar does not touch the ground. John can rest it in a deadlift position, or he can rest it in a hip position, regripping, whatever he needs to do. As long as the second rep is performed within that 30 seconds, that is a good rep. If the bar does touch the ground, you may start over, but you'll have to do another 2 for that to count. In order, in the up position, as long as the feet are stable or steady, if you walk out, you just must move your feet back to the position for it to count. All right. The other thing is you cannot step out of your lane. There will be lane markers. So if you step out of your lane, that is a no rep. That goes for the overhead squats as well and the snatches. So there will be a rack there. So let's hope that you don't go in another lane for the overhead squats. But for the Olympic lifting portion of it, if you do walk into the next lane, that is considered a no rep. For the snatches, it's the same thing. As long as you go from the hang, start with a hips cleared position or hips extended position. You can do a power clean or a squat clean, whatever works. Snatch clean or power snatch or squat snatch, whatever, it will count as long as hips clear at the top, feet are together for the 2 reps. And that is the only portion of WOD number 2. Now for the only portion for fire breather, same rules apply. You will have a men's bar and a women's bar at each station for the snatch and the clean for the girls and the guys. So you'll basically be sharing one bar. The guys will be sharing the cleans, the girls will be sharing the snatches, and in that position. So for the fire breathers, same rules apply as far as how it works and the standards. And that is WOD number 2. We'll see you guys there.
All right, guys. So we're going to talk about the weight situation at during WOD 2. So as far as the weight that will be given to you guys at each station, so we're going to have 2 separate sets of weights for each team. There's going to be a set of weights at the racked stations, and there's going to be a set of weights at the Oli stations. Now, what you guys are going to get is a 45, a 25, a 15, a 10, a metal 10, a metal 5, and a 2.5. Okay, so what this equals up to, if you guys are using a men's bar, is 270 pounds. Now, if you're using the women's bar on the Oli lifts, it's 260 pounds. Okay, so on the racked ones, it's 270 pounds because the girls are using the men's bar on the racked stations. Now, if you guys need it, we are going to be laying out additional 45-pound plates. That's going to bring the total up to 360 pounds on the men's bars and 350 pounds on the women's bars. If you guys need more weight than that, we can definitely find it for you, but it's upon request. For the fire breathers, same thing here. We're gonna have the same amount of weights out. Again, it's gonna add up to 360 pounds for the guys and 350 pounds for the girls on those bars.